Good afternoon. It is April 6th, 2022, and here's what we're looking at for today. Really, I would call this like a range day with a downward bias. You can see we made this huge leg down in the overnight, and we couldn't make a second measured leg down, which would have brought us down to about 44.29. So, yeah, just a downward bias. There were a couple longs in here. I didn't like too many of them, just because the bias felt down the whole time. So let's take a look at what I marked. Unfortunately, you couldn't really get in on this move down. So we have this leg of correction here, and there's no real setups in here that I see. And when it fails, we don't get a great opportunity for a failed second entry long. You get a first entry right here. I'm guessing it probably set up somewhere in here. I want to check out this 1700 tick chart again. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, on this 1700 tick chart, in this correction, there's a second entry short. So that doesn't show up on the 2000 tick chart. And then there's a trap here, and maybe there's some more stuff I want to talk about, but let's go back to 2000 tick chart. The failed second entry long comes right here, and I would take this, but I'd be very nervous. I mean, look, it comes back and almost stops you out. And so why is that? Well, we just broke beneath the overnight lows. So some people might be expecting a reversal here. And that's something to keep in mind. That's something to be careful about. You can see it was congestive right here, so it's also congestive here. Dojis, just be careful. This is a doji too. I mean, failures, we typically don't care as much, but we don't have, at that point, we wouldn't have had a trend line. And if we did, it'd probably be like this. So that's another reason. Actually, that looks pretty accurate. So that's another reason maybe to be aware of that, because we want quick traps. Here you make a triple top, first entry, failed second entry long. It's just so far from the EMA here. But that sets up, I mean, it's a breakout pullback too off this price level. But that's just, and it's a great signal bar, but it's so far from the EMA. I don't like that. And then we form congestion here. And we're just going back and forth. And turns out this is a channel. It bounces right here. You get a lower high breakout pullback, but it closes, or your entry would be so far from the EMA, and it's the first entry, so I think you got to sit out. This is too far from the EMA. All this. So then it's clear we're trending down, you know, but then we get a break here, and that forms a range. So I'd probably be looking to go short here, and we don't get a lower high. We get this, but that's it. Actually, this is a lower high. So some people might have gotten trapped there, but you're just coming in too early. Wait for a new high. And here we get a new high, and you get a double test. So you might consider that to ride back to the EMA. That's the thing here, is there's room to the EMA. But look at these dojis. This has been chopping people up, I guarantee it. So you want to be careful. You get a failed second entry long right here, and we don't know that we're in this larger pink range yet. So I think you can go below this signal bar. I don't think you want to go long down here into new swing lows. There's room to these lows, so you might, but with how choppy the price action has been, that you probably would want to sit out. And then we get another test of this price level up here. We chop up to these highs, and yeah, you get this. So you might consider entering there. We get a matching high right here. I just think at that point, this looks like a short-term like break out of congestion too, like that. Okay, whereas this one looks like you're going into the bottom of this new congestion. So I don't like that as much. And at this point, by this time, you're just like, this is way too congestive. chopping back and forth, back and forth. You get like a failure right here, but it's just in the middle of the range. We rock it up, overshoot leads to a break, and you get a first entry, failed second entry, short, failed second entry long that doesn't set up, okay, to go back into the pink range on the first time breakout. However, this doesn't set up, it closes above the EMA. You get this lower high, further confirming this trend channel. I think you got to take that and ride it back down, and that's exactly where it bounces. So then we form more congestion, rock it up. I'm still not looking to go long here. I got to change this to green because I just said this. You want to wait until a new high is made. This did not make a new high. I mean, in this context, big downtrend, this is almost at the measured move, so it almost looks like a failed breakout of the measured move range. However, this was like 5 minutes before the FOMC activity, so you should be sitting out anyway. And then the price action starts to calm down. You get a first entry, failed second entry long, sets up pretty well in the 2000 tick chart, sets up beautifully on the 1700 tick chart. Just things to keep in mind right there, okay? And then we just rock it on down. And this is too far from the EMA, any of this stuff. And then we pretty quickly reverse. We hit that, check it out. We hit the measure move of that pink range and just bounce. And if you want to play that, you get a second entry long, but that's going into the EMA. So on a day like today, I'm not going to take that, but I marked it. And then you get a failed second entry short right here. This one's actually probably green as well because of the context of the day, but also because you're going into those highs. But you can see that looks like we now have the trend channel. All this is choppy. You don't get a setup in here. This looked like maybe it was a range. And we make this is a failed second entry short right here, but it doesn't set up well. And on a day like today, prices just get held by this opening price twice. I think I don't think you want to take it, even though it is also a second entry long. And then you get a higher low here. So I think if you're going to enter long, I think it would be here. Yeah, and that ends up being a good move. People probably got trapped here on the second entry long, but it's below the EMA. All right, I had an interruption there. I think somewhere around here, people got trapped here, and that's probably what took it down. But there's no setups in here. We get a break, some new low, and then it just reverses. That's 12:30, so that's all I marked today. So I hope everyone had a good day. It was a little tough today. It was kind of choppy, but there were some really good setups. So might be worth it to keep in mind the 1700 tick chart too. So have a blessed day. I'll be back tomorrow.